Hi guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So they're back with a Ashe complete guide, and now sticking to my promise of making a complete guide on every single ADC. We've done those unpopular ones, we've done Jhin, we've done Tristana, and now we're moving on to Ashe. So we have a banger gameplay coming up in the later stages of the video, but first we're going to discuss Ashe. So I think Ashe honestly she definitely isn't top tier, make no mistake about that, but I don't think she's as bad as what a lot of people think she is. In my opinion, she works best as a utility ADC, so basically, it's good to pick her when you already have some form of strong AD damage. For example, if you have a Master Yi in the jungle, if you have like a ADC mid lane like a Lucian mid or a Tristana mid, some form of consistent AD damage, going for an Ashe wouldn't be a too bad option, because you have the utility of your slows, your vision on your E, and like your long range stuns on your ult to set up for your team. So that's the way I feel that Ashe more so should be played. I think she's in an alright spot right now. Not the highest in terms of damage until you reach very late in your build. Then you will start actually doing a decent amount of damage. So anyways, since Ashe is new, we're actually going to jump into the practice tool to check out her skills and leveling order. Alright, so at level 1, you'll always take your W for your poke. Level 2, you'll take your Q. And level 3, you actually have an option between E and W. So if you think you know where the jungler is, you take a second point in W, so you have more damage on your W. And if you are not sure where the jungler is, you take E so you can use your E to check where the jungler is. Obviously, level 5, you take ultimate, you max W first, max your Q second, taking ult whenever available, and you max your E last. Alright, so now we're going to head over to our favorite spot to discuss what are her skills and abilities. So first up, we're going to go through her passive. So her passive is known as Frost Shot. So attacks and damaging abilities. So basically, your Q, your W, and your auto attacks, as well as your ult, will slow your target by 30% for 2 seconds, which scales with level at, I believe at base level it's 20%, and now we're at max level, so it's 30%. Attacks against enemies slowed by Frost Shot deal 10% bonus damage, which scales with your crit chance. So Ashe's critical strikes do not deal extra damage, instead they increase Frost Shot's slow to 60%, of course scaling with level, so that it is at 40% at level 1 and 60% at max level, so it scales up by 20%. Now we are at max level, of course. So basically, when you build crit, you're just getting a stronger chance to slow. So if you crit, you're not actually going to do extra damage, but you're instead going to slow them. But instead, if you have crit, you actually deal more bonus damage. So at the end of the day, you're still doing bonus damage, but just that you're not doing the 200% crit damage, you're just doing 10% plus 100% of your crit chance. So you still deal more damage when you crit, just not as much as other champions. Which also is sort of why she is a little bit weaker when it comes to the damage aspect. Anyways, we'll first put a enemy dummy. So we're first going to go through a Q. So here you can see you stack up your Q. It starts off at 2 stacks. Every time you attack, you can charge up a stack. Max stacks is 6. When you reach max stacks, when you activate it, it enhances your auto attacks, give you increased attack speed, as well as gives your attacks bonus damage. And of course, as you guys can see, it launches like 5 to 6 arrows at one shot. Basically, it does about 120% more damage than a normal auto attack, roughly. So yeah, so here is your W. So your W throws out a cone of arrows. Now take note that no matter how many arrows an enemy is hit by, they can only be damaged once. So even if I stand right next to this guy, he gets hit by a lot of arrows, he still takes 93 damage. Whereas if I'm all the way here and he gets hit by like 1 arrow, he still takes 93 damage. So it doesn't mean you hit people with more arrows, it means they'll take more damage. Now, next up is her E. So her E is a global skill. So with her E, basically wherever you pass by, you can actually have vision of the area. So here, as you guys can see, beside the minimap, actually not beside the minimap, you actually have to scroll. Yeah, like that. So it will actually show you vision of the area. So I'm going to put myself to 0 cooldown so that we can actually use it again. So here you can send it to anywhere you want. Normally you send it to like the buffs or like the Baron Pit. something like that. So here we send the bird, we can see around the area. If you press it again, it will explode, and there you can see beside the minimap, it will reveal that area for 5 seconds. So here I can still see vision, no more vision, because 5 seconds has elapsed. So here I'm just going to show it off again at the blue buff area. So here I'm pressing it, I can see the blue buff area for 5 seconds before the vision expires and I can't see the area anymore. And now her ult, it is a global skill as well. So her ult is this arrow, like that, which if you tap and hold, you can't actually see the arrow, like that. And you can actually steer the arrow as well. So if you guys take a look here, I'm going to aim straight at this bot lane inhibitor tower, like that. But as you guys can see, I can actually steer it away from the inhibitor tower, and all the way like that. So I can steer it left and right. So it does stun enemies that it hits and deals damage, of course. So here, as you can see, this guy is really close to me, so when I stun him, it's only like less than a second's worth of stun. But if I go for this Darius over there, based on the distance it traveled, which is a ton of distance, it is going to stun him for a long time. And he's still stunned. Okay, that was kind of scuffed. Let me just show that off again. Alright, boom. So he is stunned for like 1 eternity. And yeah. So that's pretty much it. Her skills are pretty basic, nothing too complex about it. So now we can move on to her build and her spells and runes. Alrighty, so now on to the build, the runes and the spells. So now first we're going to cover the build, and this is my favorite build for Ashe. So I like to start off with the Manamune. So now as we all know, Ashe, she has a very weak early game damage in the first place. So with the Manamune, you will you won't really get a lot when you get the Manamune, but you will spike a bit harder when you evolve it into the Mirror Mana, especially because your poke with your W, when you evolve it to the Mirror Mana, becomes really good. And of course this also solves your mana issues. Next we go for the Slurry Charge Blade, which of course gives you all the stats you want, and Ashe can proc it very easily when she spams her W, so she can get the Radiance stacks very easily. So we go for Slurry Charge Blade. Then we go for the boots. Normally I go for Gluttonous Greaves because there isn't actually any lifesteal in this build. If not, you can also go for the defensive builds, defensive boots, and as usual it's Stasis, Quicksilver, or even Proto Belt if you need it. And then we go for Infinity Edge for the AD, of course, and to reach 75% crit chance. So next we go for the Maul Reminder, just because the Serana's Grudge isn't really that useful because she already has a 60% slow on her like W, on her Q, on her auto attacks, everything. So basically Serana's Grudge is just overkill. You don't need that much slow. So what is much more useful here is the Grievous Wounds from the Executioner's Calling aspect of the Maul Reminder, which is why we go for that. And lastly, we go for GA, of course, for the Revive. Now, when your GA is down, you actually have multiple things you can replace it with, and you actually have multiple build options. So first up, you can replace GA with Bloodthirster, of course, for lifesteal as well as reaching 100% crit. Next up, which is actually my favorite option, is to replace GA with Runan's Hurricane. Because, oops, I accidentally activated Siri there. But you can replace it with Runan's Hurricane, and that will actually allow you to spread your attacks more easily among like 3 enemies, which allows you to slow 3 people and just attack 3 people at the same time in general. So it really pumps up your damage output significantly. Now, some people's default build is Runan's Hurricane or Bloodthirster, but I do prefer GA just because it is a it is a defensive item that helps me if I get bursted by an assassin. If there are like no assassination threats, maybe I will consider like a Bloodthirster or a Runan's Hurricane as my last item. But aside from that, I wouldn't really. Now, another option that Ashe can build is instead of going for the Manamune, you go for Essence Reaver instead. But as I mentioned numerous times, Essence Reaver is actually a pretty weak item at the moment, and Manamune, in my opinion, is just way better when you get it evolved compared to Essence Reaver, where you get a better early game power spike, but it's a bit weaker in the later stages of the game. So I do prefer the Manamune for that. And aside from that, you can also opt into a Wits End if you're against a heavy AP team composition. Ashe does pretty well with the Wits End. Of course, the magic resistance as well as the attack speed does benefit her quite considerably. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the items. Now, I'm just going to show you guys this build. This is like a support Ashe build, and Ashe support isn't really a thing, but there was a point of time in Wild Rift where Ashe support was a trend because some people in pro play did use it. So this is the Ashe support build. This will become mana immune eventually, but only when you get very late on the build, because Black Cleaver, Awakened Soul Stealer, and the Moral Reminder is way more useful as a support, and these are the items and runes. I'm not gonna explain it, but it's just there, so just if you want to play Ashe support, that's the build you go for, and the runes setup as well. Alright, so now into the runes and the spells. So, oops, forgot to change it back to GA. But yeah, so for the runes, of course, we go for Conqueror. Obviously, the best rune for all ADCs. At this point in time, don't really need too much explaining for this one anymore. For the second one, Hunter Vampirism, because this is pretty much going to be your only source of lifesteal aside from the Gluttonous Grease if you choose to go for it. So, Hunter Vampirism has a lot of value here. It's going to be the Bone Plating, or of course the other option is the Hunter Titan, depending on what kind of team comp you're up against, whether it's against more CC or burst. And of course, Sweet Tooth for the health and mana sustain in lane. And for the spells, of course, it's Flash with either heal if your support didn't take it, or it's Barrier if your support did take heal. So now with all that out of the way, we can actually just jump straight into the gameplay. Alright, so here we have the gameplay. As usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and any questions you can put down in the comments below and I will be addressing them. Alright, so this is going to be a very interesting matchup. So as you can see from my team comp, we have a Lucian in the mid lane, which is sort of part of the reason why I chose Ashe. My main concern in the enemy team is honestly the Master Yi, because the Master Yi can access the backline, which is of course me, and if he ults, I cannot slow him, because that's the whole thing. Ashe is really good at like slowing and kiting people, because if you keep on shooting your Ws and your auto attacks when people are chasing you, sometimes it seems like they're really close and they're about to reach you, but they simply cannot reach you because of the slow. And a lot of people underestimate that, and even whether they're chasing Ashe or they're getting chased by Ashe, a lot of people underestimate that. Even when sometimes, like, I'm in lane versus an Ashe and we're somewhere in the middle of the lane, I'm thinking that if I take a bit of damage, I can just walk away. But sometimes by the time you realize that, oh no, I'm in trouble, and you try to walk away, Ashe's slow becomes significant enough that you cannot escape. So a lot of people underestimate Ashe, and in my opinion, that's probably Ashe's biggest strength at the moment, because she's played so little, especially in the higher elos, because she isn't very strong right now, that most people underestimate her slows. So as you guys can see here, I'm chasing the Annie, and suddenly she realizes she has to flash because I slowed her so much that she can't just simply run away. Here the Kaisa manages to escape, but instead me and Annie trade our lives for each other. Not really the best start, but not the worst either. Getting a kill in lane as an Ashe is honestly I mean, I wouldn't say it happens very rarely, but you know, at like level 2, I guess it's pretty good to get a kill onto myself in the lane, I guess. Also allows me to back and pick up my tier in a longsword, so not the worst in the world. Yeah, this game is going to be a little bit of a fiesta. I'm gonna just tell you guys that now. It's gonna be a little bit of a fiesta. A lot of kills going around all across the board throughout this entire game. Like here, as you guys can see, here I'm just going for the Annie. Like, look at how much damage I do just with my empowered auto attacks with my Q. Nearly half of my health is gone just from me attacking her and slowing her, because obviously I outrange her auto attack. So with the slow on my auto attacks, she cannot actually get away from me, and I do actually manage to do a significant amount of damage to her, basically. Alright, in case you guys didn't notice, if you saw over there, if you guys saw that crit animation onto the Annie when I W'd her, if you guys notice, I actually don't have any crit chance at the moment. That actually just signifies that your slow, your additional slow is taking effect, basically. So yeah. Alright, I should say the increased damage on your passive from when you attack a slowed enemy, I guess you could say. Basically the passive that I gone through just now. So here, I ult the Kaisa, flash over, and I basically auto attack her down for the kill. But my worst fear happens, and Master Yi shows up with his ult. And I first tried to auto attack him after I realized that I can't slow him at all. So I just start trying to just run away without attacking him at all. But I still die. I would say I barely died. I probably, if I didn't take that tower shot there when I killed the Kaisa, I probably would have escaped, I think. But I'm not too sure if I would have gotten the kill on her, so by very slim margins, But Lucian with the rotation gets the kill onto the Annie. Not too bad. And yeah, so in the start we're 2-2 or 3-2, I guess you could say, because we did actually get the extra kill onto the Annie just now. So not too bad. I would say, like on Ashe, I would say getting kills in the early game and trading it for deaths is not really the worst scenario in the world, in my opinion. Not as good of a scenario as something like a Vayne, for example, but I still think it's not too bad considering how little damage Ashe does in the early game. I would think it's a personal achievement if I manage to trade kills on Ashe in the early game. But of course, in this game, I'm up against a Kai'Sa who skills into the late game probably better than me. So not the best if I trade kills with the Kai'Sa. Alright, but here we're back to laning. Master Yi obviously on the dragon. Here we're trying to ping for a collapse onto the Master Yi. Lucian gets the memo, and here we are trying to collapse onto Master Yi. I managed to hit my ult onto the Master Yi, and he barely escapes. Kennen also barely escapes, unfortunately. Kai'Sa shows up to the party, and all I'm going to do is just get out some auto attacks. Of course, I do outrange the Kai'Sa, so I can always get out that few extra auto attacks on the Kai'Sa. Here I'm just going to clear the vision. And generally, Ashe's game plan is pretty simple. All you want to do is whenever your Q is up, you always want to be trying to throw your Q and hit any enemy laner, just not the minions. Just try to hit any enemy laner will do. And if possible, use your Empowered Q and get in a couple of auto attacks from them. Most of the time, especially in this current meta, like you're probably against like a Vayne, a Kai'Sa, you know, a Lucian who's very low range. So most of the time you will be able to outrange them and get in some auto attacks. Of course, if you don't outrange them, probably don't go for the auto attacks. But if you go for the auto attacks and they get slowed, normally you can get in an extra 1 or 2 auto attacks afterwards, because as they're trying to walk away, they realize that they're actually pretty slowed, and they do end up taking an extra 1 to 2 extra auto attacks, which can be which can make the difference. Here Annie gets cut out again. Another huge strength of Ashe is, of course, using her ult to catch out of position enemies. It can be very short range ones like those, which obviously nets you an extra kill, or it can be like long range ones across the map, all the way from like top lane to bot lane, or like from base to the enemy base or something like that. But really, as long as you hit somebody, it's alright. And Ashe's cooldown on her ult is honestly relatively short for like a global ultimate that can stun someone for up to 3.5 seconds. So honestly, I would say that especially if you're in base and if you see that there's a possibility that if you ult someone, your teammate might be able to get a kill, I would say that you should probably try to ult that person, and hopefully your teammate can follow up and get a kill, which of course will be beneficial for both you who will get an assist and as well as your teammate who will get the kill, of course. Here I tried to ult the Kai'Sa, but unfortunately it was a blind ult and I missed her by a fingertip. So a little bit unfortunate there, but as I said, be very liberal with your ult. You don't have to hesitate or try to conserve your ult. Just use it whenever you can. I would say Ashe is one of those champions where just using your ult whenever you can is going to be generally the way to go. Here I kind of mess up here because for some reason I think I can 1v2 the Ashe and the Annie. Now, to be fair, I'm not Ashe, the Kai'Sa and the Annie. To be fair, I was semi-close to killing the Kai'Sa, but honestly, my brain was just lagging there, and I have no idea why I decided that I can 1v2 them. But Nami thankfully comes back and trades Kai'Sa, who has overstayed, obviously when she's a little bit too low HP. And Lucian is going in on the Annie. Don't believe he gets a kill there. But yeah, so as you guys can see, this game is a complete fiesta. We're at only 7 minutes, but we have 15 kills already. So that's more than 2 kills per minute. So it's kind of a fiesta. So here I'm getting off a ult, which goes through everybody. Doesn't hit a single one of them, but either way we're gonna get the kill on the Annie. I know that Kennen's in the bush there, so I'm just gonna ward the bush and go onto the Kennen. Obviously, you guys can see the slow allows me to actually keep the Kennen in place and eventually allows Lucian to pick up the last hit on the Kennen because I did get stunned by the Kennen, so Lucian gets the kill on that one. Here we're trying to finish off the Kai'Sa and we barely managed to, courtesy of the slow. So really, Ashe's biggest selling point in my opinion is both her slow and her global ultimate, which of course can stun enemies, which will allow your team to find picks. So I think that those two are the biggest draws of Ashe. Of course, another really good tool that Ashe has is, of course, her hawkshot, which will allow you to see into the enemy jungle. In this game, I haven't really used it a lot because majority of time mastery is on some kind of vision. Like here, he's on mid lane, so we don't really need to check up on where he is, and there's no reason to waste it if you don't need to. But here, I'm in a relatively good spot. I have my evolved Mirror Mana, and I also have my Solar Recharge Blade completed. So here, I'm at a relatively strong spot. I managed to kill the cannon, and here I'm in a 1v1 against Kai'Sa. And here, I've gotten to the point that I can actually 1v1 the Kai'Sa. As you can see, picking up the double kill there, in comes Master Yi. So I'm in a little bit of trouble here, but we 3v1 him, and I pick up a triple. But yeah, so basically, you can see that Ashe, when you get a little bit later in the game, and this is only like at 2 items. Of course, in this particular game, I am ahead quite significantly compared to the enemies, but generally, when you reach like 3 items is when you're really going to be strong. And when you hit your Mirror Mana, which I have already in this game, your poke is going to start to hurt. So if you just simply if both teams are just like hovering around like a dragon or something, you can just keep on throwing your W's, which when you reach max rank at your W's, which you will do like under 10 minutes of the game, maybe like at 8 minutes or something. Really simple thing to do. The range of your W is so big that it's really hard to miss enemies. It honestly is very hard to miss enemies with your W unless they're behind minions or jungle monsters, in which case it's going to be a little bit more difficult because you have to position such that you won't shoot the minions instead. But yeah, it's really easy to hit, and when they start taking continuous poke from your W, it will hurt, and the damage will stack up eventually. So here, we're gonna try to collapse onto the enemies here, out by Nami, and Yasuo getting caught in no man's land, and there he goes. Yeah, so we're doing pretty well this game as Ashe. As you guys can see, we have 10k gold. By far the most in the game, and no one is really even close. Like the closest after us is like at 7k gold. Like the Lucian and like the Kai'Sa is like almost to 8k. But here we have a very large lead, and we have our 3 core items already. We managed to buy an entire Infinity Edge off that one bag, so we had like 3.4k gold, 3.4k gold at that point in time. So really huge amounts of gold for us to spend. And here, of course, we have a Shyvana. So, playing with a Shyvana, of course, you always want to go for Dragon, particularly if the team doesn't even show up to Dragon on time. Here, I'm using my E to check if any enemy is coming through their jungle, but turns out none of them are. So, they didn't even try to contest the Dragon. A tip if you're playing with a Shyvana is to show up to Dragons on time, and if you're playing against a Shyvana, is to show up to Dragons on time as well, because Shyvanas will always go for Dragon, and their teams should help them go for Dragon. Here, another brain lag there. I simply just end up walking straight into the cannon and the entire enemy team as a squishy ADC. Yeah, I am strong, but I'm still very squishy. So I kind of brain lagging there again, and I kind of just walked straight into the enemy team. I have no idea what I was doing there, but yeah, we all make mistakes, and yeah, that was kind of an embarrassing one for me. Just something interesting to point out. Lucian's build pretty interesting in this match. He's gone for Essence Reaver into Static Shiv, which is a very old Lucian build. Like Static Shiv was an item you built on Lucian before patch 2.4, like before the Charge Blade etc. came out, and Essence Reaver was something you built after 2.4, but like after like 2.5 or so, nobody built Essence Reaver anymore because the item got nerfed a couple of times in terms of both its cost and its stats. So Lucian I would say it's a suboptimal build, but at least it is a, he's not like building AP or something. At least he's not like a troll build. But yeah, so here, picking up whatever farm I can. Just gonna pick up the chickens. And so here I'm waiting for the red buff to spawn so I can pick up the red buff. Of course, the red buff slow combined with Ashe's slow is gonna be pretty potent. Now, I did say you don't need the Sorrel's Grudge, but red buff of course does boost your damage as well, in addition to giving you the slow. So why not pick up the red buff? Here I'm going for another ult, and I actually do end up hitting the Yasuo. Unfortunately, no one really follows up. Nami ends up hitting the Yasuo as well. So Yasuo getting just CC continuously, but no one managed to do anything. Here I'm attacking Annie's bear because I'm trying to charge up my Q. So basically, before a fight breaks out, you want to try to auto attack anything just to charge up your Q in case you need to activate it for the fight itself. So whether be it a minion, a jungle monster, or like an enemy itself, or like just Annie's pet, or you know, whatever you can attack, just try to attack it so that you can of course charge up your Q so that you are at maximum stacks, so that when you activate it, you know, you will have 6 stacks of the empowered Q. So here our team is relatively ahead, so I'm just pinging to do Baron, and if the enemy team walks into us, we can probably just kill majority of them or kill all of them. So basically really hard for them to contest the Baron because we are pretty far ahead. So here we pick up the Baron before they even manage to reach the vicinity, and of course we don't really want to fight with them here because generally fighting them is going to be disadvantageous to us, because if we die we lose the Baron buff, but if they die we don't really get a lot unless we literally kill the entire team. Then we might be able to end the game. But looking at the wave states, probably it's possible with the bot lane wave, but yeah, but we don't decide to go for the risky fight. Instead, we just go the safe way, which is to reset, buy ourselves some items, and start the push. Right, so here we're just going to siege the mid lane tower. There's only one cannon trying to defend. He tries to come in with his ultimate, and so does Annie, but I managed to kill both of them. Yasuo's win roll, of course, very irritating when you're playing ADC. Yasuo goes onto the Lucian with his ultimate, and I because of that I managed to miss him with my ult. And here I'm left on 1 HP. Kai'Sa obviously manages to pick up the kill on me for the shutdown as well. But Shyvana is probably going to end up getting the Kai'Sa. Yeah, she gets it with her red buff. And Teemo is the only guy left on the map. So here I'm pinging him to attack the tower. Because there is literally no one left on the map to defend, he can easily just get this tower and then he can recall, because he of course has the Baron minions and there's literally no one to defend. The tower is literally one auto attack away from dying, as you guys can see right there. But instead of backing off, he decides to stick around, so not too sure what the plan was for this Teemo. But yeah, so at least he manages to pick up the tower for us. And here TP comes in from the Lucian himself. Not sure why Lucian went for TP there. Protobelt or like a stasis probably would be a little bit better for him, but he goes for the TP. TPs himself right into the mid lane, and nothing too much happens. So here I'm just going to go for the farm in the top lane. Shyvana is here as well, of course, trying to take the farm as well, but we do manage to get 2 out of the 3 last hits, so not too important. The dragon is up, of course, so as we know, we have a Shyvana on our team, so even though she apparently is more interested in the blue buff than the dragon, we are actually going to help her to take the ocean dragon. Here, she, instead of going for ocean dragon, she's going for her Grom, so I have no idea what she's really thinking here. I'm using the hawkshot to, of course, check out if anybody is coming, and I do manage to, in fact, pick up the dragon myself with the help of Nami and a little bit of help from Teemo. So yeah, so here you pick up the moral reminder. We of course almost at full build. We only need to pick up the GA to actually reach full build. Here I'm launching my arrow from the base straight down mid lane, trying to steer it, and we hit the Annie. See if there's any fallout from our team. There we go, Nami with the chain CC, and Annie should be dead, hopefully. There we go, she's gone. And so now we are going to join the fight for ourselves. And already 3 members of the enemy team are dead. I'm flashing forward to try to go for the kill onto the cannon. We do get the kill on the cannon. We get the kill onto the Kai'Sa as well. But we're going to die to the Master Yi, unfortunately, yet again. Master Yi onto the Lucian as well. Master Yi gets stunned by the Nami bubble. And our team is still up. 3 of our team is still up compared to them 1 Master Yi. So Master Yi, as we know, when he hits a couple of items, is going to start to become a problem. He already has 3 items, which in this case is the Charge Blade, the Bloodthirster, and the Static Shift. So he's pretty strong at the moment. He has 100% crit chance already, and he has a huge amount of lifesteal from the Bloodthirster. Also a lot of damage in general. So Master Yi, as I suspected, will be the biggest problem for me. So I kind of really need my team to peel for me. Honestly, as an Ashe, there's really not a lot you can do against the Master Yi, except to, of course, ult him point blank if he tries to go on you, but that's even a little bit difficult because he has his Alpha Strike, which can use to get into you and avoid the ult, so you sort of have to try to play around that as well. Here Teemo, no idea what he's doing all the way up there, but he manages to escape with his move quick. And yet here I have respawned, so here pretty much we're just trying to close out the game. Like, obviously we're in a very advantageous position at the moment, so we really want to close out the game before before the enemy team reaches like full build, before they like catch up to us in terms of like gold and items. And yeah, so we really want to try to end the game as soon as we can, which does appear to be a little bit of a challenge for us at the moment, particularly with the Master Yi, who is scaling really well. So here I'm just going to clear up the lane. I have no idea what the Shyvana and gang and Lucian are doing all the way up there when the wave is obviously where I'm at. Master Yi gets another pick onto the Nami, and I try to throw my ult, which does hit onto the Annie, but doesn't really matter. Here I'm of course trying to go for the Master Yi. Shyvana is actually tanking the Master Yi, which allows me to pick up the kill onto the Master Yi. Now I'm onto the Kai'Sa. Teemo kills the Annie, and I believe the cannon does actually manage to recall over there. But we managed to take out the biggest threat in the enemy team, which is the Master Yi, of course. So here we can try to go for the mid lane inhibitor tower. Yasuo is of course on the way, and cannon would have recalled and gotten some health back. So here all I'm going to do is I'm going to focus the tower. I'm going to throw my W's like here and reset tower aggro by walking out, so I can still get off my poke onto them. Here Yasuo has his tornado, so gotta be a bit careful there. Yasuo actually manages to catch onto me. I stasis to immune myself from damage. I flash over the wall, try to get my ult off, and Yasuo flashes over the wall straight into my W, so he dies. A little bit, kind of an outplay there, but honestly, a little bit unlucky but yet lucky on my part. I was trying to stun the Yasuo with my ulti. It actually ended up, I believe it ended up hitting the cannon instead. But Yasuo flashed over right as I pressed W, so a little bit lucky in that sense that I managed to kill the Yasuo the moment he flashed over. But now at this point, I've gotten enough to pick up my GA, and I am now full build. So still trying to, of course, close out the game, and now the Elder Dragon is coming up. Of course, we already have all the previous dragons prior to the Elder Dragon, so really good there. Really huge wave here, which of course I don't really need the goal, but we kind of course need to push out this wave so that the wave doesn't just straight up push into, you know, our second tier tower and just take the tower. So here Master Yi was actually onto the dragon for a couple of seconds there before he realized that his team wasn't actually around. Annie is trying to deal the wave, and so is Yasuo. So at most it's a 3v5 here. Nice ult over the wall by the Nami. And we managed to pick up a kill as well. Master Yi, tries to make something happen, but instead he just gives his life over. Annie and Yasuo show up to the party, but it's a little bit too late. They're all just going into the meat grinder, and they're all gonna die. And Lucian picks up a triple, and we're gonna pick up the victory. Enemy team has surrendered because they have lost either way. And yeah, so it was a pretty big of a fiesta this game, but that's pretty much it for the Ashe complete guide. And I'll leave you guys with the stats as usual. So thank you guys for watching the video, and goodbye.